My beloved one, pause your heart for a moment and listen carefully. This is not an ordinary message crossing your path by accident. This is a sacred interruption. Right now, as you are hearing these words, Archangel Michael is calling you by name. Heaven itself is leaning toward you in love and in warning. There are moments that never return the same way twice, and this is one of them. You may feel it already, that gentle pressure in your spirit, the quiet sense that something important is unfolding. This is because the door of divine guidance is open right now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now. And Archangel Michael stands at that doorway, not with fear, but with truth, clarity, and protection. He is not here to frighten you. He is here because your life is at a turning point you cannot ignore any longer. Hear this clearly. Heaven has been trying to reach you. Through signs. Through delays. Through sudden thoughts that interrupt your routine. Through moments where your heart feels restless even when everything looks fine on the outside. These were not random. These were signal. And now, the message is no longer subtle. Archangel Michael says there is love surrounding you, but there is also urgency. You have been asking for direction, even if you did not realize it consciously. You have been standing between two paths, one familiar, one unknown. The familiar feels safe, but it is slowly draining your spirit. The unknown feels uncomfortable, but it is filled with divine alignment. This message is connected to the space you are living in, the environment you return to every day. Something around you has been influencing your clarity more than you realize. Energy matters. Words spoken within walls matter. Decisions made behind closed doors matter. Heaven sees what you tolerate in silence. And Archangel Michael is stepping forward now to help you see what has been hidden in plain sight. There is a reason the title of this message feels intense. Because it is honest. If you turn away from this call, not in rebellion, but in distraction, the doors of divine guidance may close for a time you cannot control. Not as punishment, not as abandonment, but as consequence. Guidance responds to willingness. Direction flows where attention goes. Right now, you are being invited into a higher level of awareness. This is not about perfection. This is about obedience to truth. Archangel Michael is saying, do not delay what your spirit already understands. You have been sensing that certain conversations need to happen. Certain boundaries need to be set. Certain habits need to be released. And certain courage needs to be activated. You are protected, but protection does not mean passivity. Heaven defends those who move in alignment. There are blessings waiting on the other side of a decision you have been postponing. You keep telling yourself you will deal with it later, when things calm down, when timing feels better. But timing is not always something you control. Some doors open by grace, others close by delay. Feel the love in this warning. Archangel Michael is not shouting. He is standing firm. Sword lowered, eyes steady, voice clear. He is reminding you that guidance is a relationship. When heaven speaks and the heart responds, clarity increases. When heaven speaks and the heart ignores, confusion slowly grows. You may have noticed lately that things feel slightly off. Small misunderstandings, minor delays, a sense that your prayers are heard, but the answers feel quiet. This is not rejection. This is a pause designed to get your attention. A pause meant to bring you back into alignment before you drift further from what was meant for you. There is nothing wrong with you, but there is something incomplete around you, something unresolved. Something you already know, but have not acted on. Archangel Michael says the moment you acknowledge it honestly, help will rush in faster than you expect. Heaven moves quickly when the heart is willing. This is why this message found you now and not earlier. Your spirit is ready to hear it. The call is not about fear of loss. It is about love for your future. Divine guidance is not meant to be chased. It is meant to be honored when it arrives. So take a breath. Let your heart soften, not harden. Let awareness rise instead of resistance. This moment matters more than you think. And what comes next will make sense only if you stay open. Beloved soul, now that your spirit is awake, Archangel Michael draws closer, not to overwhelm you, but to steady you. What you felt in the last moment was not imagination. It was recognition. Something ancient within you remembered its alignment. That is why this message continues to unfold with such precision. Heaven does not repeat itself without purpose. Archangel Michael is speaking about attention. Not casual attention, but sacred focus. He says many answers have been delayed not because heaven was silent, but because your attention was scattered. You have been listening to too many voices at once, some loving, some fearful, some simply loud. Guidance cannot compete with noise. It waits for stillness, and stillness begins with a choice. There is a pattern you must understand. Every time you move closer to clarity, distractions increase. Not by accident. When a soul is nearing alignment, confusion tries to interrupt momentum. Archangel Michael is reminding you that clarity often arrives disguised as discomfort. That uneasy feeling you have been trying to shake is not a sign to retreat. It is a signal to look deeper. You are not behind, but you are being asked to be honest about what you have been postponing. There is a responsibility you sensed long ago toward your growth, your calling, your spiritual authority. You told yourself you would return to it when life felt easier. But ease does not always come first. Sometimes obedience opens the door to peace, not the other way around. Archangel Michael is also revealing that you are being watched over during this transition. There are unseen protections around decisions you have not even made yet. That is why certain things have not fallen apart the way they could have. Grace hath been holding the line while you gathered courage. But grace is not passive. It invites response. Right now, heaven is asking you to engage, to lean in, to participate. This is not a message meant to be consumed quietly and forgotten. It is meant to stir something active within you. When you acknowledge truth publicly, even in small ways, you strengthen alignment internally. That is why it matters when you interact, when you respond, when you give voice to what your spirit recognizes. So take a moment here. If this message is resonating, let it be known. Let your agreement be visible. Like this message is a signal of alignment. Share it with someone who may be standing at the same crossroads without realizing it. Comment with a word that reflects what your heart is sensing right now. These actions are not about numbers. They are about participation. They tell heaven, I am listening. And if you feel drawn to walk this path consistently, subscribe and stay connected. This space is being built as a place of clarity, protection, and spiritual awakening. Those who remain often do so because their spirit recognizes nourishment here. There is also deeper guidance available for those who choose to step closer through membership, where the messages go further and the covering grows stronger. Archangel Michael says community matters in seasons of decision. Isolation makes doubt louder. Shared awareness strengthens resolve. You were never meant to carry awakening alone. That is why this moment includes connection, not just information. Now listen carefully. There is something specific being highlighted about timing. You have been given a window. Not a deadline, but an opening. Windows require movement. If you sit still too long, you miss the breeze meant to refresh you. The guidance you seek is already moving toward you, but it will not chase resistance. You may notice in the coming days that small confirmations appear. A phrase you overhear, a sudden memory, a delay that redirects you. Do not dismiss these. They are part of the same conversation. Archangel Michael often speaks through patterns, not just words. When you notice repetition, pay attention. When something interrupts you twice, pause. Heaven is efficient. It does not waste motion. There is also reassurance here. You are not being rushed into something reckless. You are being invited into something aligned. The fear you feel is not danger, it is unfamiliarity. Growth often feels like standing on the edge of known ground. But Archangel Michael does not ask you to leap blindly. He asks you to trust the ground he has already secured. Before this message continues further, allow yourself to stay present. Let curiosity replace hesitation. Hold your place here, because what unfolds next connects directly to a question you have been carrying quietly. This is where clarity begins to sharpen, and you will want to be here for it. Chosen one, Archangel Michael now speaks with a deeper firmness, not to alarm you, but to anchor you. There is a truth unfolding that requires courage to face and humility to receive. Heaven does not expose things to shame you, it reveals them to free you. And right now, something that has been quietly influencing your direction is being brought into the light. You have been sensing a shift in your inner atmosphere. Thoughts that once felt normal now feel heavy. Conversations that once felt safe now leave you drained. This is not because you are becoming weaker. It is because your discernment is sharpening. Archangel Michael says you are outgrowing a layer of your old self, and what once fit no longer aligns. There is a subtle but powerful warning wrapped in love here. When awareness increases, tolerance must decrease. You can no longer ignore what your spirit reacts to. Certain energies around you, whether people, patterns, or environments, have been dimming your clarity. Not intentionally, perhaps, but consistently. And consistency shapes destiny. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that divine guidance flows best where truth is honored. If you keep dismissing what you already know, guidance becomes quieter, not because heaven withdraws, but because the soul learns not to listen. This is why this moment matters so much. You are being asked to respond differently than you did before. You may feel a mix of relief and resistance as you hear this. Relief because things finally make sense. Resistance because change requires action. But Archangel Michael assures you that obedience does not mean loss. It means realignment. What leaves your life in this season is making room for something more stable, more nourishing, and more true. There is also encouragement here. You are not expected to fix everything at once. Heaven works step by step. One honest decision opens the way for the next. One boundary restores strength. One truthful conversation shifts an entire season. You are not late. You are right on the edge of clarity. Pay attention to what you feel compelled to protect right now. Your peace, your time, your inner quiet. These are not selfish instincts. They are signals of spiritual maturity. Archangel Michael protects those who protect what heaven has entrusted to them. You are also being reminded that you are not alone in this awakening. Many are being called at the same time, but each call is personal. Yours carries a specific tone because your assignment is specific. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. Comparison distorts calling. Alignment clarifies it. As this message settles, allow it to settle deeply. Let it reach the places you usually guard. Here is safety in truth, even when truth feels uncomfortable at first. Archangel Michael stands beside you now, not to push you, but to strengthen you as you choose. Before this moment passes, mark it. Seal it with intention. Speak agreement with what your spirit recognizes. This is not superstition. It is participation. When you respond, heaven responds. Type "I choose divine clarity" in the comments if this message is confirming what your heart already knows. Blessing code 4455 has just been released. And now hear this final invitation, flowing naturally from what has been revealed. This calling, this awakening, this moment of truth is not meant to stop with you. There are others still living in confusion, still waiting for a sign, still praying for a voice of clarity. I am speaking to you directly now. If you feel the weight and beauty of this message, you are being invited to help carry it forward. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing light into lives that are still in the dark. The word declares that when you cast your bread upon the waters, it returns in season, and this is that season. Your act of support becomes a prophetic response, a seed released while heaven's door is open. I bless every giver now, that what you release in obedience returns as protection, clarity, and open heavens over your home. Do not delay if your spirit is stirred. Step into alignment and support the mission now. Beloved child, as this message continues, Archangel Michael invites you into a quieter space within yourself. Not silence filled with emptiness, but stillness filled with awareness. This is where discernment becomes clear. This is where confusion loosens its grip. You are being guided to slow your inner pace, because what is coming next requires precision of heart. There is something important you must understand now. Divine guidance does not always arrive as new information. Often, it arrives as confirmation of what you already sensed but doubted. Archangel Michael says you have known for some time that a shift was approaching. You felt it in subtle ways. Changes in desire, loss of interest in things that once excited you, a longing for depth instead of distraction. These are not phases. They were preparations. Right now, heaven is adjusting your internal compass. You are being recalibrated. This is why certain plans you made earlier no longer feel right. This is why you feel hesitant about commitments that once felt easy. Your spirit is no longer willing to move without alignment. That is growth, not fear. Archangel Michael also speaks of responsibility. Not burden, but stewardship. You carry influence even if you underestimate it. Your words affect more than you realize. Your choices create ripples beyond your immediate view. This is why guidance is becoming more intentional. You are being trained to pause before reacting, to listen before deciding, to sense before speaking. There is protection in this pause. Some delays you have experienced recently were not obstacles, they were interventions. Heaven stepped in quietly to prevent you from moving too fast into something that looked right but was not aligned. At the time, it may have felt frustrating. Now, it should feel reassuring. You are not navigating alone. You may also notice that your tolerance for surface-level interactions is decreasing. Small talk feels heavy. Noise feels louder. This is because your inner hearing is sharpening. Archangel Michael says, when discernment increases, sensitivity increases too. Do not interpret this as weakness. It is refinement. Like a blade being sharpened, you feel more before you cut more clearly. There is also a call to honesty here. Not public honesty, but private honesty. You are being asked to tell yourself the truth without justification or excuse. Where have you been settling? Where have you been avoiding a necessary ending? Where have you been saying it's fine when your spirit knows it is not? These questions are not meant to accuse you. They are meant to free you. Archangel Michael reassures you that endings are not failures. They are transitions. When something completes its purpose, clinging to only delays what comes next. You are allowed to release what no longer fits without explaining yourself to everyone. Alignment does not require permission from misunderstanding. There is also healing happening beneath the surface. Old disappointments are losing their emotional charge. Past regrets are loosening their hold. This is not because you forgot them, but because you are finally seeing them with wisdom instead of pain. Archangel Michael is helping you reinterpret your past, not as proof of loss, but as evidence of survival and growth. As this process continues, be gentle with yourself. Transformation is not loud. It is subtle, steady, and often invisible until it is complete. You may not feel dramatic change day by day, but one morning you will notice that your reactions are calmer, your thoughts clearer, your boundaries stronger. That is how real alignment manifests. Do not rush this stage. What is being formed now will support what you are stepping into next. Foundations are built quietly. Strength is developed privately. And when the time comes for visible movement, you will move with confidence instead of hesitation. Archangel Michael leaves you with this reassurance. You are exactly where you need to be for what is unfolding. Nothing essential has been missed. Nothing meaningful has been wasted. Stay present. Stay honest. Stay willing. What comes next will feel different, not because the world changed, but because you did. My dear one, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to something deeply personal, something you may not have put into words yet, but have felt stirring beneath the surface. This season is not only about discernment, it is about authority. You are being invited to step into a quieter, stronger version of yourself. One that does not need constant validation to know what is right. There has been a shift in how you respond to pressure. Situations that once pulled emotional reactions from you now leave you reflective instead. This is not detachment. It is mastery. Archangel Michael says you are learning the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction drains power. Response preserves it. And power, when guided by wisdom, becomes peace. You may have noticed that you no longer feel compelled to explain yourself to everyone. This is important. When the soul matures, it learns that clarity does not come from convincing others, but from standing firmly in truth. You are beginning to trust your inner knowing more than external approval. That trust is being strengthened deliberately. Archangel Michael also reveals that you are being repositioned spiritually. Some relationships are naturally shifting, not through conflict, but through distance. This is not abandonment. It is alignment. When paths diverge, it does not mean love disappears. It means purpose redirects. You are allowed to honor what was without staying where you no longer belong. There is a message here about restraint. Not everything you sense needs to be spoken immediately. Not every realization needs to be shared. Discernment includes timing. Archangel Michael teaches you to hold wisdom until the moment it can be received. Silence, when guided, is not suppression. It is strategy. You are also being reminded to watch how you speak to yourself. Inner dialogue shapes spiritual atmosphere. If your words are harsh, your clarity dims. If your words are patient, your strength multiplies. Archangel Michael encourages you to replace self-criticism with self-command. Speak direction, not judgment. You are not correcting a failure. You are guiding a becoming. There is something else unfolding quietly, Your sense of purpose is simplifying. What once felt complicated is becoming clear. You are beginning to recognize what truly matters and what merely occupied your time. This clarity will soon influence your decisions in very practical ways. How you spend your energy, who you listen to, what you pursue. You not be surprised if you feel a growing intolerance for chaos. This is not rigidity. It is order establishing itself within you. Archangel Michael governs order, truth, and protection. As his influence strengthens around you, disorder becomes uncomfortable. You are not meant to thrive in constant turbulence. You are meant to move with intention. You may also feel drawn to structure, routines that ground you, moments of reflection, habits that support clarity. These are not restrictions. They are containers for peace. Freedom without structure becomes scattered. Structure without freedom becomes rigid. You are being taught balance. There is reassurance here for your heart. You are not losing parts of yourself. You are refining them. Joy will return in a deeper form. Creativity will flow with more meaning. Rest will feel more restorative. Nothing essential is being stripped away. Only what distracted you from your center is falling away. Archangel Michael wants you to know that you are being trusted with more because you have grown capable of carrying it. Increased responsibility follows increased awareness. But you will not be overwhelmed because you are not stepping forward alone. Guidance will meet you at every stage, as long as you remain willing to listen. As this message settles, let it settle without pressure. There is no rush here. Growth is happening even when it feels quiet. Stay attentive to your inner state. Protect your peace. Honor your boundaries. What you are becoming is strong, steady, and deeply aligned. And what comes next will build naturally upon this foundation. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now shifts your focus from what is forming within you to how it begins to express itself outwardly. Inner alignment always seeks expression. What had been changing quietly inside you will soon influence how you move, choose, and respond in the visible world. This is where many people hesitate, but you are being prepared to move with calm authority instead of fear. You may notice that situations are arising that test what you have learned, not to trip you, but to confirm your growth. Old triggers may appear again, familiar patterns knocking at the door, familiar voices trying to pull you back into old reactions. This is not regression. This is examination. Archangel Michael says when you pass through old tests with new awareness, they lose their power permanently. Here is an emphasis now on consistency. Spiritual growth is not proven in moments of inspiration, but in repeated, grounded choices. How you speak when you are tired. How you respond when misunderstood. How you protect your peace when it would be easier to argue. These are the places where authority is built. You are also learning that not every invitation deserves a response. Some doors open only to distract you from the path you are on. Archangel Michael reminds you that discernment is not only about choosing what is right, but also about declining what is merely available. Just because something is offered does not mean it is assigned to you. There is also a call here to visibility, not attention-seeking but presence. You are being encouraged to stop hiding parts of yourself that are meant to be seen. Your clarity, your values, your calm strength, these are not meant to stay internal forever. Others will benefit simply by observing how you carry yourself. Influence does not always speak loudly. Sometimes it radiates quietly. At the same time, you are being reminded to stay connected. Spiritual journeys are strengthened through shared awareness. If these messages are grounding you, guiding you, and helping you recognize your alignment, then stay connected here. Subscribe so you do not drift away from what is feeding your spirit. This channel exists as a place of consistency, not noise. If this message has already helped you see something differently, acknowledge it. Like this video as a simple act of agreement. Share it with someone who may be navigating the same inner shift without language for it. When you comment, you are not just responding, you are anchoring what you receive. These actions are not small. They reinforce alignment. There is also deeper access available for those who feel called to walk this path more closely. Membership is not about exclusivity. It is about continuity. It allows this guidance to go deeper, to stay focused, to build layer upon layer instead of starting over each time. Those who step closer often do so because their spirit recognizes readiness. And now hear this carefully. Archangel Michael is speaking about momentum. Momentum builds when awareness meets action. You do not need to do everything at once, but you do need to do something. One aligned step creates movement. Movement creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. You may feel moments of doubt arise, whispering that you are imagining this growth or that it will fade. That voice is not intuition. It is habit. Habit resists change. But your spirit is no longer governed by habit alone. You are learning to lead yourself with intention. There is protection over your movement now. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into order. Even when things feel unfamiliar, they are not unsafe. Archangel Michael does not remove fear by eliminating the unknown. He removes fear by strengthening your trust. As you continue listening, stay present. There is another layer coming. One that connects directly to your future decisions and the timing surrounding them. This is where understanding sharpens, and you will want to stay right here for what unfolds next. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings your awareness to a threshold you are approaching. Not a dramatic crossing, but a subtle one. Thresholds rarely announce themselves loudly. They appear as moments where choices feel heavier, where intuition speaks faster than logic, where hesitation and clarity stand side by side. You are standing in such a moment now. This stage is about trust. Not blind trust, but informed trust. Trust that has been built through experience, refinement, and quiet growth. You have already walked away from what weakened you. You have already learned to pause instead of react. Now you are being asked to trust your inner alignment enough to move forward without needing every detail explained. Archangel Michael says many people delay their destiny because they want certainty before movement. But certainty often comes after obedience and not before. You are not being asked to leap into the unknown without support. You are being asked to step onto ground that has already been secured, even if you cannot yet see the full landscape. There is also a message here about self-respect. You are learning that honoring yourself is not arrogance. It is stewardship. When you respect your time, your energy, and your boundaries, you are honoring what heaven has placed within you. This respect often enters through small compromises that feel harmless at first. You are no longer willing to make those compromises, and that is strength. You may notice that your patience has changed. You are patient with processes but less patient with pretense. You are willing to wait for what aligns, but unwilling to settle for what distracts. This is not intolerance. It is discernment in action. Archangel Michael affirms this shift. It is necessary for what lies ahead. There is also an invitation here to release control. Not responsibility, but control. Control comes from fear of uncertainty. Responsibility comes from confidence and alignment. You are being asked to hold your direction firmly while loosening your grip on how everything unfolds. This balance allows guidance to move freely. You are also becoming more aware of timing. You sense when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to wait. This sensitivity is not something you learned intellectually. It is something you earn through experience. Trust it. Overthinking will try to interfere, but clarity does not argue. It simply knows. Archangel Michael also highlights something important about your future environment. Where you are going requires a different internal posture than where you have been. You cannot carry old defensive habits into new aligned spaces. Protection will still surround you, but you will not need to armor yourself the way you once did. Peace is becoming your default, not your exception. There may be moments where you feel exposed, not because you are unsafe, but because you are no longer hiding. Authenticity can feel vulnerable at first, but vulnerability rooted in truth becomes strength. You are learning to stand openly without over-explaining, without shrieking, without performing. Pay attention to what excites you quietly now. Not loud excitement, but steady interest. These are indicators of alignment. What drains you quickly is falling away. What nourishes you slowly is rising. Archangel Michael encourages you to follow nourishment, not urgency. There is also reassurance here regarding mistakes. You are not expected to navigate this perfectly. Missteps will not undo your growth. Correction is built into guidance. When your intention is aligned, even detours become instruction. Release the fear of getting it wrong. That fear belongs to an earlier version of you. As you move forward, simplicity will become more attractive. Clear choices, honest conversations, clean boundaries. This simplicity is not limitation, it is freedom. When complexity falls away, energy returns. When energy returns, vision sharpens. Archangel Michael wants you to remember this. You are not becoming someone else. You are returning to who you were meant to be before fear taught you to fragment yourself. This return is gentle, but it is powerful. It does not rush you, but it does not retreat. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. The next unfolding will connect directly to purpose and provision, and it will arrive with clarity you can recognize. You are ready for it. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks into a deeper layer of your journey, one that touches both purpose and provision. This is where many people grow uncertain, because it asks them to trust not only with their hearts, but with their future. Yet you are not being led into lack. You are being led into alignment, and alignment always carries supply. You may have wondered how the changes within you will translate into the world around you. How clarity becomes stability. How obedience becomes sustenance. Archangel Michael says this is the moment where internal truth begins to attract external support. Not instantly, not dramatically, but faithfully. Heaven responds to alignment with order, and order creates flow. There is a correction being made in how you view provision. You were taught, perhaps unconsciously, that safety comes from control. That if you manage everything tightly enough, nothing will fall apart. But control creates tension, and tension blocks reception. You are now being taught to cooperate instead of control, to move with guidance instead of forcing outcomes. This does not mean you become passive. It means you become precise. Archangel Michael says when you act from alignment, effort multiplies. You waste less energy. You choose better timing. You recognize opportunities that once passed unnoticed. Provision often comes through discernment, not struggle. You may already see small signs of this. A conversation that opens a door. An idea that feels calm instead of rushed. A resource appearing exactly when needed. Do not dismiss these because they seem ordinary. Miracles often wear simple clothing. Consistency is one of heaven's favorite methods. Here is also a warning wrapped in reassurance. Do not return to old survival patterns out of fear. You are no longer operating from the same level of awareness. What once felt necessary would now feel heavy. Trust the growth that has taken place. You are more capable than you realize. Archangel Michael is also drawing attention to generosity of spirit. As alignment increases, so does capacity to give, not only materially, but through presence, wisdom, and encouragement. Giving does not deplete you when it flows from abundance rather than obligation. You are being invited into this rhythm, where receiving and releasing move together. You may notice that your priorities are rearranging themselves. What you chase is changing. What you value is clarifying. This is not loss of ambition. It is refinement of vision. Ambition aligned with purpose becomes sustainable. Ambition driven by fear burns out quickly. You are learning the difference. There is also protection being placed over your resources. Not just money, but time, energy, and focus. Archangel Michael guards what is aligned. This does not mean challenges disappear. It means challenges no longer define outcomes. You will face them with steadiness instead of panic. Pay attention to how peace accompanies certain decisions. Peace is not always excitement. Sometimes it is quiet confidence. That quiet confidence is one of the clearest indicators of guidance. Learn to trust it, even when others do not understand your choices. As this part of the message settles, recognize that you are standing in a flow that responds to participation. Heaven moves when the heart moves. What you honor expands. What you align with strengthens. So mark this moment. Seal it with intention and agreement. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8891 is now activated over your path. And now, hear this invitation as a natural extension of what has been revealed. This flow of guidance, this clarity, this provision does not exist for you alone. I am speaking to you directly now. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing into a river that carries God's word to those still searching for direction. The Lord declares that those who water others will themselves be watered, and this is a living promise, not a distant verse. Your support becomes an act of obedience in this very moment, a response, while the window is open. I bless every giver now, that your seed returns as stability, insight, and open doors you did not force. Do not hesitate when your spirit is stirred. Act now, and let your support become part of what heaven is building. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now turns your attention toward integration. What has been revealed, refined, and released must now be lived. This is where understanding becomes embodiment. Many receive insight, but fewer allow it to reshape their daily movement. You are being invited into that deeper level, where truth is not only known, but practiced. There is a shift happening in how you carry yourself through ordinary moments. You may not notice it at first, but others will. Your responses are steadier. Your presence is calmer. Your decisions feel less reactive and more intentional. This is not performance. It is alignment settling into habit. Archangel Michael says this stage is about trust in motion. You no longer need constant confirmation. You act, then observe, then adjust. This fluidity allows guidance to remain active. Rigidity blocks flow, but responsiveness invites refinement. You are learning to move with awareness instead of anxiety. You may encounter situations where the old version of you would have overextended, over-explained, or overcommitted. Now you pause. You choose selectively. You leave space. The space is not emptiness. It is capacity. Capacity allows better things to enter. There is also a lesson here about humility. Growth does not announce itself loudly. It shows up as consistency, as reliability, as integrity when no one is watching. Archangel Michael honors quiet faithfulness more than visible intensity. You are being shaped into someone others can trust, not just admire. You may also notice that you are less interested in proving yourself. This is a sign of inner security. When identity is rooted, validation loses its grip. You still care, but you are not controlled by opinion. This freedom will serve you well in the next season. There is a reminder here to remain teachable. Alignment does not mean arrival. It means readiness. You are still learning, still refining, still listening. Pride would close the door. Curiosity keeps it open. Archangel Michael encourages you to ask questions internally and remain flexible externally. You are also being guided to simplify your commitments. Not everything that is good is meant to be carried by you. Overcommitment dilutes focus. Focus strengthens impact. As you release excess, you create room for depth. There may be moments where this simplicity feels like loss, especially if you were once defined by busyness or productivity. But stillness reveals worth that activity cannot. You are learning to measure value differently. Archangel Michael also brings reassurance about direction. You do not need to map out the entire future. The next aligned step is enough. Clarity unfolds as you move. Waiting for complete certainty will only delay what is ready to begin. Pay attention to the quality of your attention. Where you place it shapes your experience. Distraction weakens awareness. Presence strengthens it. You are being trained to notice what matters and release what does not. As you continue integrating, be patient with yourself. Habits take time to form. Patterns take time to shift. Progress may feel subtle, but it is steady. Trust the process you are in. This stage may feel less dramatic than earlier revelations, but it is no less important. Foundations are laid here. Stability is built here. What you embody now will support what you step into later. Archangel Michael stands with you in this integration, guarding your progress, strengthening your resolve, and reminding you that alignment is not a destination, but a way of moving through life. Stay present. Stay honest. The next unfolding will bring action into sharper focus, and you will recognize the moment when it arrives. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now draws your awareness toward action that carries weight and consequence. Not rushed action, not impulsive movement, but deliberate steps taken from a place of clarity. This is where many hesitate again, because action reveals what belief truly lives inside. Thought can stay hidden. Intention can remain private. But action makes alignment visible. You are entering a phase where decisions will feel more defining. Not because they are dramatic, but because they are directional. Small choices will begin to shape larger outcomes. How you respond to opportunities. How you manage your time. How you speak when clarity asks you to be honest. These moments will quietly determine momentum. Archangel Michael says this is the stage where confidence must replace comfort. Comfort keeps things familiar. Confidence allows movement into what is prepared. You are not being asked to abandon stability. You are being asked to stop confusing familiarity with safety. True safety comes from alignment, not routine. You may notice that opportunities now come with a requirement of responsibility. They ask more of you than before. This is not burden, it is confirmation. Only those prepared are entrusted with more. You would not be facing these choices if you were not capable of navigating them. There is also a call here to discipline. Not harsh discipline, but intentional structure. What you repeat becomes who you are. Archangel Michael encourages you to build rhythms that support clarity rather than drain it. Simple, consistent practices will do more than occasional intensity ever could. You are also learning to act without seeking constant reassurance. This is important. Guidance does not always announce itself with emotion. Sometimes it arrives as calm certainty. When something feels steady rather than exciting, do not dismiss it. Peace is often the clearest signal of alignment. There may be voices around you that question your choices, not out of malice, but out of misunderstanding. Remember this: not everyone is meant to understand your timing. Explanation is not always required. Integrity speaks for itself over time. Archangel Michael reminds you that action taken from alignment attracts reinforcement. When you move in truth, support appears. It may not look like you expected, but it will be sufficient. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Movement creates conditions. At this point in the journey, it matters that you stay connected to what is feeding your clarity. If these messages are sharpening your awareness and helping you move with confidence, remain connected here. Subscribe so you do not drift back into noise. Consistency builds strength. If this message has helped you see your next step more clearly, acknowledge it. Like this video as an act of agreement. Share it with someone who may be standing at the edge of action, uncertain but ready. When you comment, you reinforce what you are choosing internally. These are not empty gestures. They anchor intention. There is also deeper grounding available for those who feel called to go further through membership. This is not about obligation. It is about continuity. Growth accelerates when guidance is steady. Those who step closer often do so because their spirit recognizes readiness. Archangel Michael also offers a warning filled with care. Do not confuse busyness with progress. Action that is misaligned exhausts. Action that is aligned energizes. Pay attention to how your body and spirit respond after you decide. Fatigue may signal overreach. Calm strength signals right timing. You are also being asked to release hesitation rooted in past mistakes. You are not the same person who made those choices. Wisdom has been gained. Awareness has matured. Do not let yesterday's version limit today's movement. As you move forward, you may feel a mix of excitement and seriousness. This is normal. When purpose becomes tangible, it carries weight. But that weight is not meant to crush you. It is meant to ground you. Archangel Michael assures you that you are supported in this movement. You are not stepping into uncertainty alone. Guidance will adjust as you move. Correction will be gentle. Protection remains active. Stay here with this message. Hold your place. Because what unfolds next will bring clarity around timing and confirmation, and you will want to recognize it when it arrives. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks into a moment of confirmation. This is the stage where heaven does not introduce something entirely new, but gently affirms what has already been forming within you. Confirmation rarely arrives as thunder. More often, it arrives as peace that does not leave, even when circumstances remain uncertain. You may feel a quiet settling inside you, as if something has finally found its place. Questions that once demanded answers now feel less urgent. Not because they were answered logically, but because your spirit no longer feels threatened by the unknown. This is a sign of maturity. Fear demanded control. Trust allows movement. Archangel Michael says this stage is about recognition. Recognizing how far you have come. Recognizing what no longer controls you. Recognizing that clarity has replaced confusion in ways you may have overlooked. Growth often hides behind normalcy. You expect transformation to feel dramatic, but real transformation feels stable. There is also an awareness forming about identity. You are no longer defining yourself by what you survived, what you lost, or what went wrong. Those chapters informed you, but they do not name you. Your identity is shifting from recovery to purpose. This shift changes how you see your future. You may notice that you are less reactive to delays. Waiting no longer feels like punishment. It feels like positioning. Archangel Michael reminds you that timing is not about speed. It is about readiness. What arrives too early becomes a burden. What arrives on time becomes a blessing. There is also a refining of desire happening now. You want less, but what you want matters more. This simplicity is intentional. Focused desire carries power. Scattered desire weakens direction. You are being trained to want what aligns, not just what impresses. You may also experience moments of reflection where past situations replay in your mind, but without pain. This is healing completing its work. When memory no longer controls emotion, freedom has been gained. Archangel Michael honors this healing. It was earned. There is a subtle confidence emerging in you. Not loud, not performative, but grounded. You trust yourself more. You trust your discernment. You trust your ability to adjust when needed. This confidence does not need constant reassurance. It stands quietly. Archangel Michael also speaks of stewardship over what is coming next. Responsibility increases with clarity. You are being prepared to hold something meaningful, whether it is influence, opportunity, or provision. Preparation happens before presentation. You are still in preparation, but readiness is near. Pay attention to what feels inevitable rather than urgent. Urgency often comes from fear. Inevitability comes from alignment. When something feels steady, persistent, and calm, it is worth honoring. That is often where guidance is strongest. You are also being encouraged to rest without guilt. Rest is not retreat. It is integration. What you have learned needs space to settle. Overprocessing will only blur clarity. Trust that what hath been planted will grow without constant monitoring. There may be moments where doubt tries to resurface, questioning whether this growth is real or lasting. When that happens, look at your responses, not your thoughts. You are calm. You are clear. You are more intentional. Evidence speaks louder than insecurity. Archangel Michael reassures you that nothing essential will be taken from you in this next season. What leaves will do so naturally. What stays will strengthen. You are not entering a season of loss. You are entering a season of alignment made visible. As this message draws closer to completion, remain open. The file unfolding carries both blessing and responsibility. It will invite you to seal what has begun and step forward with intention. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. The moment you have been prepared for is approaching, and you will recognize it not by noise, but by peace. My beloved one, Archangel Michael now stands before you with completion, not an ending, but a sealing. What has unfolded through these messages was not random, and it was not meant only for understanding. It was meant for activation. You are not leaving this moment the same way you entered it. Something hath been clarified, something hath been strengthened, and something has been entrusted to you. This final movement is about ownership. Not control, but responsibility. You are being asked to own your alignment. To stop waiting for permission to live from truth. To stop postponing the life your spirit already recognizes. Heaven has spoken. Guidance hath been given. And now the choice rests with you. Archangel Michael reminds you that divine guidance does not chase indecision. It stands ready for agreement. The warning spoken at the beginning now completes its circle in love. Doors of guidance open through attention and close through neglect, not forever, but long enough to feel the weight of delay. This was not shared to frighten you, but to awaken you before hesitation becomes habit. You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are not late. But you are responsible. What you do with clarity determines how long clarity stays sharp. Honor what you have received. Protect it. Apply it gently but consistently. There will be moments ahead where you are tempted to return to old patterns because they feel familiar. When that happens, remember how far you have come. Remember the peace that replaced confusion. Remember the strength that replaced reaction. Familiarity is not always truth. Sometimes it is simply comfort without growth. Archangel Michael says you now carry a quieter authority. One that does not announce itself. One that does not need to argue. This authority shows up in how you choose, how you pause, how you walk away without resentment, and how you step forward without fear. This is the mark of alignment. You will notice that your life begins to respond differently to you. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Boundaries will hold. Peace will remain longer. Clarity will return faster when challenged. This is the fruit of obedience. There is also a calling attached to this alignment. Not necessarily public, but purposeful. Others will watch how you move. Some will ask questions. Some will feel inspired without knowing why. Do not underestimate the power of a life lived in quiet truth. Light does not need permission to shine. Archangel Michael leaves you with this final reassurance. You are covered. You are guided. You are protected as long as you remain willing. Guidance is not a single moment. It is a relationship. And relationships grow through response. So respond now, not with fear, but with agreement. Let this moment be marked not just by hearing, but by decision. Type "I accept divine direction" in the comments if you are sealing this message in your spirit. Blessing code 7319 is now released over your life. And now, hear this final word flowing directly from this sealing. I am speaking to you personally. If this message awakened you, strengthened you, or redirected you, then you are part of why this work exists. This is not about supporting a channel. This is about sustaining a calling. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are responding prophetically while the door is still open. The Lord declares that those who stand with His word in the moment of calling will see open heavens in their own season. Your support is a seed planted in obedience, not later, but now. I bless every giver, that your alignment produces protection, provision, and peace in ways you cannot force. Do not delay if your spirit is stirred. Act now, and let your support become the final confirmation of this divine moment.